Welcome to today's video, where we'll explore one of the most powerful features in Spring, using native queries with Java DTOs. If you're working on a project that involves complex database operations, chances are you've stumbled upon a situation where you need to retrieve specific data from your database, but the standard GPA methods just aren't cutting it. That's where native queries come in. They allow you to write custom SQL queries that can be used to fetch specific data from your database. In this video, we'll take a deep dive into how you can use native queries with Spring and Java DTOs. We'll cover the basics of what native queries are, why you'd want to use them, and most importantly, how you can use them in your own project. By the end of this video, you should have a solid understanding of how to leverage native queries to simplify your database operations and make your code more efficient. So let's start with the basics. What are native queries? Native queries are custom SQL queries that can be used to fetch specific data from your database. They're called native because they're written in the native language of your database, SQL. Unlike standard GPA methods, which rely on the Java persistence API to generate SQL queries for you, native queries allow you to write your own custom queries. Now, why would you want to use native queries? There are several reasons. For one, native queries give you fine-grained control over the data that's being fetched from your database. This can be especially useful when you need to retrieve specific data that doesn't fit into a standard GPA query. Additionally, native queries can be more efficient than standard GPA methods since they allow you to write optimized SQL queries that are tailored to your specific use case. So, how do you use native queries with Spring and Java DTOs? The first step is to create a DTO, or data transfer object, that represents the data that you want to fetch from your database. This DTO should have properties that correspond to the columns in your database table. Next, you'll need to write a native query that selects the data you want to retrieve. This query can be written using standard SQL syntax, and it should select the specific columns that you're interested in. Once you've written your native query, you'll need to use Spring's query annotation to specify the query. This annotation takes a string parameter that contains the native query. Finally, you can use Spring's Java repository interface to execute the native query and retrieve the results. The results will be returned as a list of DTOs, which you can then use in your application. So, what are from this video? Here are the main points to remember. Native queries allow you to write custom SQL queries that can be used to fetch specific data from your database. Native queries give you fine-grained control over the data that's being fetched and can be more efficient than standard GPA methods. To use native queries with Spring and Java DTOs, you'll need to create a DTO that represents the data you want to fetch. Write a native query that selects the data and use Spring's query annotation to specify the query. That's it for today's video on using native queries with Spring and Java DTOs. We hope this video has given you a solid understanding of how to leverage native queries to simplify your database operations and make your code more efficient. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the section below. We'd love to hear from you and help you out with any issues you're having. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content on Spring and Java development. Thanks for watching.